Welcome to back to On the Job podcast. We have a special edition this week. It's leading up to Father's Day weekend, and it's also pin night. So I thought how appropriate to have my dad and my brothers on to talk about the IBEW, to talk about our family's history here at Local 103. So welcome, Dad. Welcome, Callie, and welcome, Rich, to On the Job podcast.
Yep, nice to be here.
Is this your first podcast, Dad?
Yeah, really.
You're not
Keeping up with the times.
Doing the tour?
You know?
You're doing the podcast tour?
Yeah.
So a lot going on this past week, right? So a week ago, we had apprentice graduation. Your grandson, my son, Lewis, became a journeyman.
Yeah, it was a pretty awesome night.
Kind of a big deal, right?
Yeah, to see all the kids. I was just amazed on how many kids that graduated that night.
Yeah, right. Yeah, almost 300, I think.
Yeah.
And then now a week later, it's pin night. Another big night for the IBEW, for Local 103, but for our family again. I'm getting my 35-year pin, and you're getting, remind us what pin you're getting?
59.
59-year pin, holy
Yeah,
shit.
damn.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, 35's pretty respectable.
Yeah, we'll just keep that down low. Kind of quiet.
No, Richie got 30 last year.
30 last year?
Yeah.
You're coming up on, what are you coming up on?
I think I got 7 years left.
Oh, okay.
6 years left to the 20.
Was it 2010?
2013.
Oh, 13, okay. So you got a little ways to go to get you 20. 20 is your first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, 59.
Yeah.
That's
I know.
crazy.
Times have changed in
Yeah,
the local since I've been here.
Yeah, what year was that? What year was that you started?
66.
66.
Yeah.
That's when you were first year apprentice?
Yeah.
Wow.
I got in 66. I actually graduated high school in 65 at 17, but I was too young to get in the local, so
Yeah.
I waited a year.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, so many things have changed, just like working on the job.
Right? What a ride.
Yeah.
Right? Do you remember your first job?
Yeah, I worked for MB Foster. I'm trying to think of where I went. Worked for them for a couple of years. They were a pretty good shop. In fact, I actually met Ed Joy there.
Yeah, really?
He was working in the office, and he wasn't too far out of high school. I think he was estimating for them. You know, he got to recognize my face. I know his face.
Yeah.
I'd see him in school. We might be passing in the halls.
He's one of your classmates?
Well,
Oh, you met him
I'm
on the
not
job.
sure. Yeah, I'm not sure whether he was a year ahead of me or same year.
Yeah.
But I can remember seeing him, and then so many years later, I don't know if MB Foster went out of business, but that's when he opened up Joy.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of the guys from that office went with him to Joy Electric.
Yeah, wow. What job was that you were on when you first started?
I'm not sure the first one. I know I worked in a, I don't even remember what the job was. It was in Waltham. Oh, you know, the first job I went to for MB Foster was Mass General.
Really?
They had like a maintenance contract there.
Yeah.
And I was one of the
Yeah.
new apprentices at that time. That was a nice little job.
Yeah. MB Foster, they was before my time,
Yeah.
obviously. They were like the Mass Electric of the day, right? They
Yeah,
had all the big work. They had
right.
all the...
They had some good
were
sized
one of-
jobs. Their shop was right on Congress Street in Boston.
Okay.
And one of those old Boston
Yeah.
buildings there.
Oh,
and,
wow.
and they, like, if you were going to a job, usually they'd send me, and they had like a mini supply house in their lower level.
Oh, wow.
So you just go in and order a bunch of stuff. And
The shop, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you either take it with you. In fact, Vinnie Crowley was a truck driver for them.
Was
when
he
I
really?
first-
Yeah.
yeah, he was trying to get in. He got in, I think, like a year later.
Yeah, you guys are about the same, right? You were a year ahead of him,
Yeah,
I think.
he might be
Yeah.
in age. He might be a little older than me,
Yeah.
but I think he got in like maybe the next year.
Yeah,
year
yeah, he's
after.
getting his 58 tonight. You're getting your
Is he?
59,
Yeah.
so you guys are right
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, I can remember him. He's is exactly the same
Yeah.
then as he is now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he's a good guy. He just came in and brought us a jigsaw puzzle piece of the front of the picture of the front of the hall. It's pretty cool. I got to find a place to hang it.
Oh,
but
really?
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
Vinny with the Retirees Club did that. It's pretty cool. So you worked for MB Foster. I always thought that your first job was that BU, the Warren Towers job.
I actually worked there as right out of high school as a laborer because being too young to get into the local. So I went there and I think it was Local 22.
Yeah.
And right out of high school. And that fall and winter was the job was open, so it was cold.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So they were just digging the hole for those 3 towers there on Com Ave.
Right.
Yeah, wow.
Right.
So 59 years later, they're just finally doing those buildings over now, like
Yeah.
fully renovating those buildings as we are right now.
So when
I
they
think they got
renovate,
2 under construction.
are they
complete,
getting the
complete gut.
people out of them? Oh,
Yes.
they
Yeah.
that
Yeah, I believe they're complete guts, like
Wow.
they've gotten the whole building, and I think it's
wow.
they. I
So
think
they are pretty old.
yeah, right. Yeah, they. I think it was someone told me it was cheaper to remodel the whole buildings down to the grind down to the stone or down to the studs, I guess, for a
Steel,
building like
yeah.
that, than to tear them down and rebuild them.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that was all steel. So
yeah, yep. Yeah, I always thought that was one of the first
yeah,
jobs that
that
you were
was
on.
definitely my first, not
Yeah.
as an electrician, but
Yeah,
in construction.
yeah. So you did the apprenticeship. You did 4 years, not 5 years, right? Most.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I was one of the first.
4-year program when I was in. Yeah,
Yeah. I was one of the first, I think, that did a 5-year program.
really.
I think, yes. Or right around my year, a couple years before, probably when it went to 5 from 4.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was, I can remember when I got my license, it was like, such a load off your back, at
Yeah,
that
right.
time. But the tests were much different than they are now.
Yeah,
I think it was like 10 code questions
the
before
code book was like this big. Electricity was how the made back then, right?
Yeah, we still had candles.
Yeah. Yeah. So your grandson just got his license, became a
Yeah.
journeyman last week.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, he's the 4th generation,
Yeah.
Antonellis, to be in Local 103, which is huge deal. It's
Oh,
always
yeah.
something that we take a lot of pride in. Obviously, being 3rd generation, and now we got a 4th generation, and a couple more coming up behind him. I think Michelle's
that's
kids,
great.
Richie's son, and
I know it.
Yeah,
Well, I don't think there's a better spot to go
no,
than staying in the business,
especially with
The way things are, I mean, you go to college, that's great, but, sometimes you don't even get a job out of it after you spend so much money. And
right, and AI taking over a
Yeah.
lot of those types of jobs. Best thing you can be is an electrician. So.
yeah.
Yeah, I always wish that you were a doctor or a lawyer, Dad, or a rich stockbroker, and I followed you into that
Yeah,
trade. I was
I
always
tried
like, "Why
to-
the hell are you an electrician?"
I try
This
to talk
sucks.
you out of it. I remember telling you, whatever you do, don't get into the business. It's, you're working out in the cold and
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah, I remember
But
being.
now it's almost like you talk them into going into the business.
Yeah, I mean, everybody talks about how great the wages and the benefits are, and they're the best you can get. But the people don't talk about really how hard the job is.
Right.
It's not easy,
Right.
especially when you're leaving, before it's dark and you're going out into the
In the
the
dead of
frigid
winter.
temperatures or
Yeah.
the hottest days of the year, and you're working on a roof somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
I remember like being in high school, and whether I was going to go to college or whether I was going to go into the trade. I remember, passing out on the couch in the living room, and waking up at 4 a.m. with you, going out the door to go to work, and I thought, holy shit, I'm never doing that. There's no way I'm ever doing that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like I felt like you were getting up in the middle of the night,
Especially
and
like
heading out to work.
in the dead of winter, you're getting out of a nice warm bed and then you're going outside.
Right.
Yeah. I can remember my father one time, kind of similar, happened
Yeah.
to wake up early. My father's getting ready to go to work. And, he's putting on all these clothes. And one thing that really struck me funny is, now I don't know if anyone's ever done this before, but he was spraying his feet with deodorant, like underarm deodorant, and then putting a plastic bag over it. And I said, why are you spraying your feet? And he said it stops them from sweating, and then like they wouldn't freeze. And I said, Dad, why don't you just stay home? It was like 15 of them,
Yeah, yeah.
And he goes, I don't stay home. I stay home. I don't get paid.
Right.
He goes, we don't eat. And that just like stuck in my mind. And I remember going to school that day, and it's like 2:00. We're getting ready to get out of school, and it's still freezing. And I'm thinking, Jesus, my father's been outside all day long.
Yeah.
And that's when it really clicked. The first time I ever really gave it any thought. That was probably like 12 or something.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. He said, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. I know, and when I first got in too, the pay, first year apprentice, my pay was $2.20, I think, an hour.
Really? I think it was.
And my take home after they take out, the taxes, and then, well, they didn't have the annuity then, but
Yeah.
whatever other things they were taking out, my take home was like $49.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
As an apprentice?
Yeah, first year.
Wow.
First year apprentice.
I think I was like $7 an hour. I want to say $6 or $7 an hour. What was yours, Rich?
820.
Was it 820? Yeah.
Yeah. When I come out of my time, my journeyman were making 7 something, and I thought that was like holy mackerel.
Yeah, right.
$7.
I remember you always said like when you were making $7 an hour as a journeyman, you had more buying power
Probably, yeah.
than a journeyman today. Really,
Yeah.
you know, at close to 70 with inflation and with the way.
Right. I mean, the cost of a house then.
Right.
My first house, I paid $29,500.
Wow.
29,000.
Yeah, that's not even a down payment today.
You can't even buy a car.
You can buy a car for that. That's true.
But yeah, I know it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just 59 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny how the cycle goes. Your father out in the cold. You didn't want to be an electrician.
Right.
And I remember thinking, seeing you going out to work, being like, I am not going to be an electrician. I don't want to be anywhere near that career, that trade. And I remember my son, when he was in high school, he's like, no, I don't want to do that either.
Right. I can remember young Lou not wanting any part of it.
Yeah. And I think we're all there at one point, and then finally, Don, you need a job, you need money. And,
Start looking at the big picture.
and you're looking back now for me after 35 years, for you after 59, or you after 30 and almost 20. It's got to be the best decision that I've ever made in my entire life, and I'm not good at making great decisions, I think, but this being the absolute best,
I know.
best one.
Well, my father, 103, of course, and I remember when we realized I wasn't going to college, he goes, all right, you're going to be an electrician. And I was like, I was pumping gas in the gas station. I'm like, Dad, this guy lets me change my own oil. You know? Not even having a clue, you know.
Yeah, those were benefits, right?
Yeah, right. Thinking I had it made.
Yeah.
But, I think back how lucky I was to do that and go through the program. And going through the program, you got to have the right mindset too.
Yeah.
Especially now, and I mean, it's so much more difficult, I would think.
Oh, yeah.
Than when I went through.
Yeah. I feel like they don't put up with as much today as they did back when I was going through my time. I don't envy the kids that are going through now.
Right. I know they were kind of strict on absences. You couldn't have X amount of absences per year unless you had a legitimate reason. But
yeah, my definition of a legitimate reason and their
So I don't
definition
feel like
of a
going.
legitimate reason, I think, were different at the time. But I get up every morning, I really do. And now I'm the business manager. I can't believe that I'm the business manager at Local 103. But I get up every morning, and I honestly thank God every day for Local 103 and for the IBEW. I don't know where I'd be in my life without this direction and having been set on this path that you set us on, all three of us.
Right.
You set us on.
I don't know. I think of the same thing, Lou. I really do.
How fortunate
Think
we
how
are.
lucky we are.
Yeah. And I see the families that come through now that bring their kids in or they bring their grandkids in, just like you brought us in or Grandpa brought us in back in the day, in to meet the business manager or in to meet the training director, and this is my son or my grandson. And I see the look in that kid's eye. I had that same look. I knew, I didn't feel like I belonged. I didn't know where I was. It was so intimidating, like, oh my God, like the real world coming at you.
Yeah, right.
And just really, but I see those guys bringing their kids in, and they want the same thing for their families and their kids as we all want for our families, to work through an entire career and look back and say, oh my God, that was the best decision I ever made.
Yeah.
It's,
Whether they realize it now, because I didn't.
oh no, right.
It took me a few years before it dawned on me, and I started realizing I had a new car, and half of my friends are driving shit boxes.
Right.
And all that kind of stuff started falling into place, and I'm thinking, this isn't too bad.
Yeah. It's amazing. Like I said, every single day I wake up and thank my lucky stars. I have a house and a roof over my head, and the bills are paid, and it's
right.
You know what I mean?
Bills are paid. It definitely
Yeah.
takes the stress away.
Yeah, and it's getting harder and harder to do that, and without having a good wage and good benefits, not have to worry about going to the doctor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Taking your family to the doctor,
Right.
we don't stress about that ever.
Yeah.
Never had that stress. Don't know what that stress is like. Thank God. Thank God.
And now being retired, and still being able to go to the doctor. I mean, you get Medicare that helps you, but the local's still involved too.
Right.
And in the
course.
prescriptions, I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
Some of the prescriptions are crazy what they getting for 'em. But, you know, we're paying a
Right.
minimum amount,
Right.
10 or $15 per prescription.
Yeah, yeah. I remember I was working at Mystic Power Plant. There was a couple old timers that were working in the tool crib, and they were talking about one guy was getting ready to retire. I forget the gentleman's name. Old timer though, and he's talking about the benefits and the retirement, and he's getting ready to go on retirement, and he's like, you know what? When they used to propose these retirement benefits and put money away in the annuity, I was always one of those guys that was against that. Like I didn't want the union managing my money for me. I was capable. I wanted to manage my own money. I didn't need anybody to do that for me. And he goes, you know what? I'm so glad nobody ever listened to me. He says because I wouldn't be retiring, next week or next month, whatever
Yeah,
it was, and how great the benefits really are. You know.
Yeah, I can remember guys saying that, like at a union meeting.
Yeah.
They didn't like that. In fact, that those two checks they get in the summer and in the winter. I think
yeah.
You guys brought it back in.
Oh, the vacation.
Yeah, the
holiday
vacation
vacations. Yeah.
funds. I mean, I always liked them.
Oh yeah.
And there was always a small group that didn't care for them.
Yeah.
Eventually, they ended up getting rid of it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anytime somebody wants to hand you some money,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, it's kind of like forced savings a little bit.
Yeah,
Someone
right.
said. I'm like, yeah, well, a lot of us need a little help, forced savings.
especially now. I mean,
Yeah.
with everything going on, everybody's got bills and more bills.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's great. That's one of the great things. I remember, when they collapsed the holiday vacation fund back in the mid '90s, I think, because of the healthcare needed money, and instead of taking money out of people's envelopes, out of the pocket, out of your wage or your paycheck, they collapsed the holiday vacation fund and they put that money
Oh, I didn't remember that.
into the healthcare, because healthcare had started to skyrocket.
Yeah.
I think we went to, $5 or $6 at that time.
Yeah.
And then, we went a couple decades without a holiday vacation fund, and, people always reminisced on how great the holiday vacation fund always was, and people wanted it back, so we were able to, the team was able to renegotiate and get the holiday vacation fund back. And again, it's, people are really happy come
Yeah.
June 1st and December 1st,
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can remember that. And I think the check when I was getting was $300,
Yeah.
and that was nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now $300, you fill your tank.
Yeah. Never got a check I couldn't use, that's for sure, right? So, you got 3 sons in the local, Dad.
I know it.
How's that feel?
That's pretty awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
Local 103 has always been known for having, big families that are in the local, and I feel like our family keeps growing and growing, and we're like all of a sudden we're one of those families.
Yeah, that's nice.
You got right, multi-generation with multiple siblings. Like we have
Yeah.
my 2 brothers and my son, my daughter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
the
awesome.
whole family's here. Richie's son and Michelle's son both going to trade school to become electricians. It's I know how proud I am. I can't imagine how proud you
Oh
are.
yeah,
You know?
believe me, I'm so proud
Yeah.
of everybody.
Yeah.
And then when they start working and they develop their own
Yeah.
self,
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
own name.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just great.
Yeah. No,
It's
really.
awesome.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. Yeah. Lou's out at the airport.
I mean, I only when I got in, I didn't seem like maybe I just didn't know them, but it was always more father and a son, and it never seemed to go beyond that.
Right.
Obviously, and then as you grew older, the kids are
Yeah.
coming up, and this one's got a grandson now, and
Yeah, I remember saying, "Oh, I'm in a 3rd generation. My father, my grandfather." And there was a lot of people in the same
Yeah.
boat as we were, 3rd generations. But now you're seeing 4th generation,
Yeah.
even more. But now you're seeing mothers and daughters,
Yeah.
or fathers and daughters, or mothers and sons, and you're seeing more diversity, more women in the trade. So you're seeing, lots of women. My daughter's in the trade. Like,
yeah,
it's awesome. You know what I
crazy.
mean? It really is.
I think back of like when my father started working
Yeah.
on the buildings that they were working on. Then when I started working, Government Center was just starting to get built up.
Really.
And
Yeah.
company I was working for a while, Gens, I think they had the Kennedy building. Some of those buildings.
The JFK building.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when they first start, they
Yeah.
start with a name and then they get renamed along the way. But I know
Sure.
it was the Kennedy building and the Salt and Stall building
Yeah.
across the street.
Yeah, the 2 federal buildings.
Yeah. And then One Center Plaza was around the corner.
Yeah.
Then I think
Yeah,
two
right across the
Center-
street. Yeah.
Yeah. But all those were in the 60s.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember what was there before, vaguely. I mean, it was these old buildings, and they were
Yeah,
just
old
tearing them
tenements.
down. And
Yeah.
Was the 60s a boom? Was it busy?
Yeah.
Was it?
yeah, in the 70s is when it dropped off. Yeah, I can remember, and at that time, I remember them talking. The guys at work would be talking about, geez, we got 10 years of work ahead of us, and I never thought in that direction about, you're just kind of being
Yeah.
green, that green coming into the business. You
Yeah,
think,
right.
Yeah, work's always going to be here, but it's not the case. Now it's probably a little better.
Yeah. And that's one thing that,
Yeah, in the 70s, a lot of guys traveled.
yeah, there's a lot of work, a lot of unemployment back then. Work was slow here. That's one thing, like being in the office as a business agent, even the business manager now. That's one thing that's where majority of your stress comes from is, where's people's next job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Finding the next job, because in construction, basically you're working yourself out of a job.
Yeah,
If your
right.
shop doesn't have a job to go to, then now you're looking,
Yeah,
And I remember the cycles. I come in the early 90s, and it was bad as
yeah, I
it
think
ever
I,
was. You know
I
what
think I
I mean?
remember at one point
Yeah.
you went to Maine, I think. Didn't
Yeah,
you?
that's right. Yeah, I worked on the road up in Maine at a paper mill up in the mid
Were you a
90s.
journeyman?
I was
'Cause
journeyman,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I don't
Yeah.
think apprentices are able to travel.
Yeah, right. No, I was a journeyman.
Yeah.
We were living in Watertown at the time, and I was working up in Westbrook, Maine,
Some
working at
paper
one of the
mill?
paper mills.
Yeah.
They had a flood or something. It was a bunch of work, a bunch of local 103 guys were working up there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Ronnie Ledger actually called me up, and he's like, "Oh, you should come up here. There's
Oh, no kidding.
a decent amount of work." Yeah. So I worked up there with Ronnie and a bunch of other 103 guys.
Yeah. How long were you up there?
I was up there probably 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, straight.
It's tough to be away from home.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't have a family at the time. We were
So
just
it's a
kind of
little
living.
easier.
Me and Rich were just kind of living together in an apartment in Watertown. But yeah, I can see it's real hard to do. Like, especially if you have a family.
Right.
You try to support 2 homes and send money home for bills, and then try to live while you're away.
Right.
It's tough.
I was lucky enough
You
to
know.
continue working around here during the 70s, but Alaskan Pipeline was going on,
Mm-hmm.
and guys were making a lot of money, and it really gets you going,
Yeah.
thinking, geez, maybe I should hit the road. But then I was thinking about not being home for 6 months or whatever it was, and I had a young family at that time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, a lot of guys worked up in
Yeah.
Alaska. In one of the journeymen I worked for out in Deer Island when I worked for Norfolk was Russ Daly. He was an older guy. Remember Russ, Rich? He was an old timer, kind of when I was a young journeyman. I think he's since passed. Good guy, but his son Steve is in the local, and I think he just retired. But I remember Russ saying, he went to Alaska, and he was really strict with his money, and he really saved all his money. He didn't blow it. Sent money home to keep the house up. And when he come home, they bought a piece of land on the beach in Falmouth.
Did
And I think that land, I talk to Steve Daly all the time, or pretty often, and he tells me that little cottage or that house that they built is still in their family. And he always attributes it to that was his Alaska money when he was, my dad left when we were little to go find work, and he was gone for a couple of years. And when he came back, they saved all that money, and that's what they ended up, keeping their house up and keeping their mortgage and their house afloat, but also able to buy something for the family to enjoy, and they still enjoy it,
right.
which is pretty cool,
It's pretty tough, though, to be away from your family
Yeah.
off and on for 2 years like
yeah.
that, especially when your family's so young.
Yeah, yeah. And we get guys doing that now still too. Rich, where are guys working?
Yep.
Right, all over the place, right?
Yeah, everywhere. Upstate New York, New
Really?
Jersey, Washington, D.C., Baltimore.
Yeah.
We got guys Midwest. There's so much work everywhere.
These jobs that they're working on, any of them doing any time?
Most of them are doing. They're offering all sorts of overtime, incentive pay,
Yeah.
per diem. They're just trying to get.
Trying to get.
They're putting
boys,
out
yeah.
some of these jobs. Some of the locals are putting out. Book 3, which is like out of classification. Not putting out non-electricians and electricians' roles to fill
Wow.
spots. It's crazy the amount of work on data centers. For a while, you were hearing nothing about Blue Oval battery charging plants, Ford plants, all over the Midwest, and now it's all data centers.
Wow.
So it's that's the one thing, we're a little bit slow here, but there's no lack of work anywhere. And without having to travel to Alaska.
Yeah,
You
right.
can, a few hours away, a few hours from home, might be able to come back on the weekends, but,
Yeah. Right.
you know,
Something like that. It's not too bad.
but there's plenty of work out there, which is which is different. The last couple downturns that we've experienced, the whole country was experiencing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was no really place to turn.
Yeah, that gets tough.
Yeah. So opportunities, which is nice. You know, things get that tough.
Yeah, you can always go make a buck when
Right,
you
right. Yeah, right.
you know, get an electrical license, or you got a journeyman ticket in your pocket. You can stay, whether it's at home or whether it's on the road somewhere. There's always the need of an electrician.
Right.
It's great
Yeah, you
having
can
that
always go
trade.
do a service or something.
Yeah, right.
you know.
Yeah. Well, you're doing bag work or
Yeah.
in the road, you can always make a buck as an electrician. And I tell you what, that's one thing you appreciate that your kids are doing, because you know that they can always hustle and make a buck too.
Right.
Because it's been so good to us. You
Right.
know how good it is.
Right, exactly.
You know, Callie, how's the testing business?
It's good. It's always busy.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I first started, they'd send me all over the country, but now a little bit easier saying no.
Yeah.
Now that
Yeah,
I'm
right.
a little more established, but yeah, they're always busy.
Yeah. You guys still testing out substations, and where's most of your work these days?
Most of our work is Connecticut, Western Mass.
Yeah.
We got some
Substation
other-
type stuff?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, is that what it mostly
Yeah. Yeah, because we did a lot of work at Mystic, just closed down
Yeah.
recently. So we do also, generation plans, that type of thing.
sure.
But yeah, mostly substations.
What are they
lead
doing with all that
utilities.
gear at Mystic? Are they
I don't know actually.
selling it all off?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm thinking they must be, right?
Selling it to him.
to whoever. There's a lot of equipment. That equipment hasn't reached the end of life at Mystic. It's like a 40-year plant. They've only closed it down after like 20 years. So I'm thinking that a lot of that equipment still probably got some value to it. You know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you guys do much testing in new buildings? Like if new buildings before they turn the power on?
Not really. Only for utilities.
Only
I mean, we'll put
mostly
in
utility stuff?
Yeah. Like they'll
Yeah.
anytime they put in a new control house or anything.
Yeah.
That type of stuff. But
Yeah.
we don't work a ton in the city.
Right,
Not
right.
as much as we used to anyway.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I took a short call for American one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was a journeyman. It was like an over the weekend. I was working at the Sun Life building down in, is that Nick Needham and 128 by the Pike and 128 there. They have a couple.
Weston?
Yeah, Weston. Yeah, and they were just cleaning out all the switch gear, and doing some testing. And they just needed a journeyman to take the covers off the gear and move some of the equipment around. It was a nice little job. I worked all weekend. It was just like a 1 weekend job, but I made a ton of money on that one weekend, all overtime. I'm like, I want to come work for the American electrical testing guys. These guys clean up.
Yeah, they work so much. I
Yeah.
don't know what they're doing now, but I know they've
Yeah.
worked a ton of overtime.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, we've always had a handful of 103 members working with these testing companies,
Yeah.
doing exactly
Yeah,
that, taking
yeah.
out panels, and then some of these guys have gotten into a little bit of the testing.
Yeah.
So it's pretty decent gig from what I
Yeah.
can see.
The American used to kind of be the only game in town.
Yeah.
There's a few of those companies that have kind of spun off and kind of grown in the last few years. You see a little bit more competition in that. You guys held that market for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that they probably have more of the in the city
Yeah, maybe.
type work.
Yeah. Yep. Dad's Father's Day weekend, Dad.
Yeah, no, it's
This is
coming up. I know.
your 55th Father's Day. But who's counting?
Yeah, I know. I know. It seems like I was born a father.
Right? Yeah, being in this business, I know me and Richard talk about it all the time. How easy you've made life for us by having a good name, going to work all the time, and just doing your job, putting your head down and doing your job, kind of minding your business. You kind of made life real easy for your sons.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever thanked you for that, but thank
Well,
you.
That kind of gets you in the door.
Yeah.
But then after that, it's like on the individual. I mean,
Yeah.
you gotta pull your own weight.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, because I know, that just like you said, when I got in and I mentioned my father, Louis Antonellis, oh, Louis is your father? Oh, it's great. And then
Yeah.
they see me for a week, and then it's like, okay, Louis was all right.
There's no Louis.
Yeah. No, but I know you mentioned that it's always been a father-son business. And the way you've always handled yourself and gone about your business, you've made it real easy to be a son.
Yeah, well,
at Local
that's
103.
nice to hear,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I know I appreciate it, and
Certainly.
Just, being Father's Day and stuff, I had all these thoughts in my mind about things that happened with my kids during, the course of them growing up and everything. And I wish I could remember them. You know, like, as you get older, you kind of forget a lot of things. But one thing that I remember is when
I think we're going to cut right now.
Go to commercial.
Go to commercial break.
you were like 4, and it was Halloween, so you were going out for your first Halloween. And so I decided, I think I'll take you back to my parents' neighborhood where I grew up.
Yeah.
Not on Pigeon Lane, but the other one.
Yeah.
And where I grew up, and I used to trick or treat. So we went over to see Grandma and Grandpa, and you're in your costume and everything. So I took you down the street, go to the first house, walk up to the porch. So I was right there with you because you were so young, So the lady comes to the door, and you trick or treat, And the lady's like, oh, geez, oh, you look great. And she gives you this candy bar, and it was like candy bars that used to be when I was a kid. They were like that, good sized candy bars. She hands you the candy bar, and you're looking at it. And I said, "What do you say?" And you went, "I want to go to another house." Every time I think about that, I just crack up. It was the funniest thing.
Yeah, still that.
And that
way.
was like the perfect, perfect response.
Yeah, unscripted. I want more
I
candy.
remember
I want
it
more.
was at that when I took it out right around that time. I was working at a building that's right behind Kelly's Roast Beef. It's housing
In Revere?
in Revere.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was working with this kid, Joey O'Connor. We used to drive in together, and I remember telling him the story. Well, him and I both. I mean, we just roared about that one. It was just so funny.
Yeah, I remember. I worked for you. I was an apprentice working for Linwell.
Oh yeah.
Over at Harvard.
Yeah, yeah.
We were doing like they're like summer slammers, but they were like doing all fire alarm over.
Oh,
in
yeah.
a couple of different buildings, and I remember being working for you, and I didn't appreciate it back then. I really didn't. I think as you made me work and held me to a high standard, and I was like, oh man, I want to kind of go to the beach today, and I got to go to work, and if I don't show up, my father's gonna be all over me. Is kind of what I was thinking. And we worked at a little job right up the street from in Victory Road in Dorchester here, little pub station. I remember I worked there with you too.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And remember that
forgot
job?
about that, yeah.
That little job. And it was all rigid conduit. And it was a great little job. And I was brand new. I learned a lot. But it's like years later, like I appreciate the fact that I got to work with my dad, like on the job with you. Like I didn't appreciate it back then as much as I.
I got to live with him now. I got to work with him. Man.
But looking back, I really appreciate the opportunity that I got to work with my dad because not everybody, but a lot of folks have dads in the business, but never really worked with their dad. But I get to say that I got to work with my dad. It's pretty,
that's
it's pretty
nice.
special, Yeah.
Yeah, I can remember Harvard.
Yeah.
And I remember at Harvard, it might have been that fire alarm job. And at lunchtime, we'd sit out. It was during the good weather in the summer, and we'd sit outside. And there would be students all over, and we'd be having our lunch there.
Yeah.
And you used to bring one of those beach chairs.
Yeah.
And you'd take all your stuff down off, and you'd have like shorts on.
Yeah.
And you'd be out sunning yourself.
Suntan.
So one of the owners, and you'd be like 20 feet away from us, So one of the owners, Fred Richardson, comes out to the job site to see us, see how everything's going. There was 4 or 5 of us. And he goes, he's looking around, he goes, "Where's Louie?" We point over there, and there you are, like this, laying on the lounge chair there.
My
the
beach
chair.
day. It was getting in the way of my beach day. That's what I referred back to.
Yeah.
It made me go to work that day, so I had to get my
You
son
had a
somehow.
good tan, though.
Yeah, right. Always had to get a good tan. Yeah, I think, speaking of Fred Richardson, I think he's getting a 50-year pin tonight.
Oh, he is?
Yes.
Oh, so he'll be here?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I
that's
think
nice.
Dennis and Fred both getting their,
Oh,
both getting
yeah,
their.
so they were at the Naples
Yeah,
during the winter.
the luncheon, yeah.
Yeah, I got to
Retirees
see
luncheon.
them.
Yeah,
I have nice memories of working for that shop.
yeah,
Linwell.
yeah. They're,
Good shop. They were nice people.
yeah, oh, definitely. I liked working for Linwell the first few years in the trade. And,
Yeah.
Larry Mahoney was my first journeyman.
Yeah.
And now he's running Linwell
Yeah.
now. Yeah,
I remember Larry when he first came in. He
Yeah.
was, brand new.
yeah. Yeah, Larry's a great guy. He
Yeah,
was
he's-
my first journeyman, my First day in the business was.
Larry was a real good guy.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
So
still a good guy.
Yes, yeah.
You worked at Deer Island when I was there, right?
I mean, I worked in Deer Island. That was my first job in the local.
Yeah, I think I was working there for a little while at the time. Yeah, and both of you guys, I think.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure.
I think at one point we overlapped, but separate ends of the island. I think. I don't know if we were on
Yeah.
Well, like with Linwell had the maintenance there,
Yeah.
the electrical maintenance, so we were kind of like everywhere. We had a nice job. And I remember
That was
you
at
guys
the
were-
end, right? The island was kind of up and running at the time.
No, it
Was
was
that-
during construction. Yeah, we were there for 2 years.
Oh, okay. 'Cause
And,
I think I was a fifth.
Yeah, I'm
year
not sure
was up
when, but I remember you guys being there. And
Yeah.
I think you guys were working for Gens.
I was working for Norfolk, yeah. out there.
Norfolk,
Yeah,
yeah.
Norfolk Gens, yeah.
Yeah,
That was a great job.
yeah.
Things were slow in Boston, and that was like
Yeah,
only
we took
gig in
the-
town,
We
kind
took
of.
the boat.
Took the boat or
back
the
and
bus,
forth.
yeah. I actually got a cool picture of on the boat. It's of me and Richie and Chris Antonellis. We're sitting in the front of the boat. It was like a sunny day, and it's like, we're real young. We're like in our early 20s. Richie's probably his first summer in the business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's a cool picture someone just snapped of us on the
Oh,
boat
really?
going out to Deer Island.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember
that was nice.
a couple years later working out there in the same job, icebreakers in the harbor.
Yeah.
To break up the ice so the boats could get out there. I remember that being one of the coldest
Yeah, I remember
winters
that
ever.
too. And every once in a while, the boat wouldn't run that day, and you'd have to
Yeah.
would have to drive to Revere
Yeah,
and go in that way.
yeah.
Yeah, I used to buy 2 papers in the morning. Those chairs were all like steel or
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
they were, and you buy 2 papers, one to read and one to sit
Yeah,
on
yeah.
because the chairs were so cold. Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah. Either sit in your lunchbox out on the open or inside
Yeah.
underneath cover on the colder days. Yeah, I took the bus from Revere. Me and Mark used to carpool together.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that was a good job, Deer Island job. Cool.
Yeah.
Like I said, the coldest winters. Even like the blue houses, the shed houses were frozen solid. Frozen.
know.
They didn't treat them. They didn't do anything with them. They
Yeah.
were awful, but they were like frozen.
I can
solid.
remember
They were
those.
awful.
Times
Yeah,
also.
yeah.
Yeah, that was, now that you mention it, that was
Yeah.
a cold winter there,
Yeah.
one of them.
I remember doing a wire pull under the digesters. Stevie Giga was my partner. We're on a lift underneath, way up in this big, 6x6 steel cans, and we're pushing the feeders up, and we're soaping up everything, and everything was just frozen solid. Even the soap was all frozen.
Oh,
but we had a couple of 500 watt quartz lights to put on the soap buckets to thaw them out a little
Yeah.
bit. And I remember putting them on my feet because my feet were so cold.
Yeah.
And I melted my boots. The rubber sole of my boots was all melted. I had to wear them all the rest of the winter
Wow.
because it was so cold.
Yeah, I can remember going on to jobs
Yeah.
along through the years.
Yeah.
And in fact, we used to start at 8:00. It was 8 to 4:30, which was terrible.
Yeah.
But it'd be like a cold winter's day, and 8:30, my feet would be frozen, and
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, how am I going to make the rest
Yeah,
of the
right.
day?
Yeah. Should have went to college.
Yeah.
Should have went to college.
Well, I never
Thought that a lot.
But
What am I
yeah,
doing
that
out
was,
here?
That was tough.
Yeah.
You did what you could to stay warm, and then you're trying to be productive at the same time.
Right. And that, I know you worked another job. You were hanging off the side of a building.
Oh, that was
It's in one of the cabinets out here, I think. They
Yeah.
picture you with somebody else hanging off the side of a building.
yeah, Palmer Conville.
Yeah.
That was Brigham and Women's Hospital.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was in the 70s. In
Yeah.
fact, when I started working on that job, was a week after the blizzard of 78.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and I think you were like 7 or something.
Yeah.
And so it got delayed. We couldn't go in. And when I went to work, that Brigham and Women's, that building was a big mud hole. It was 5 stories in the ground. It was
Yeah.
5 stories before it even come out of the ground.
Wow.
And when I left there, I think you were 12.
Yeah. Oh, wow. You were there for that long?
Yeah, and the
Wow.
job wasn't even done because they had laboratories out front. But
Yeah.
I got sent to another job at that point.
Wow.
But I was there. I think that was like 5 years. I was
Yeah.
there.
No kidding. Wow. Yeah, there's a picture of you like hanging off some scaffolding or something on the side of the building.
Yeah, we're running a pipe. I
Yeah.
know it was like a big. If you look down at the building, it was like a big clover leaf.
Yeah.
Yeah, had some cold winters there.
Yeah. But the thing that strikes me from that picture is you're wearing like a harness a
Yeah.
safety belt, and that's all it really was a belt. It
Right.
was just a safety
And it
belt.
was
It wasn't
wrapped
really
around
like,
the
it wasn't a
column, I
full
think.
harness or anything.
I think it was wrapped around the column and,
Yeah.
and it hooked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
But
to
it's-
stop the body from hitting the ground. And just, all that does, right?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, it does a safety belt. That's all, because that's all it really was.
Yeah, it's definitely not the same now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, they always talked about safety, but they didn't have
Right.
the equipment and things that they have now.
Yeah, no, safety now is, paramount, and that's
Yeah.
why there's a lot fewer deaths and injuries
Right.
today. What other jobs have you worked on, Dad? Notable jobs that you recall as part of your career at 103?
Well, I did a lot of work in Harvard with Linwell, which
Yep.
was a real nice spot to work. In fact, one of the times that I wasn't working, I went to work for Harvard. I got to know them from doing working when I worked for Linwell, and when I was laid off, I got a job as a casual for Harvard.
Oh, yeah, doing fire
was-
alarm over there?
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
was there for 9 months. And that
Yeah.
was a great job.
Yeah. Is it true? Is the story true that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon got that story about Goodwill Hunting from you
Yeah.
solving problems on Harvard's walls? when you
That's
worked
when
at
I
Harvard?
That's when I worked for MIT.
Yeah. You were doing formulas
Yeah,
in between
it happened at MIT.
coffee breaks?
You know those hallways that they did I've walked those hallways.
Yeah, at MIT?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I might have seen him, and he got the first one wrong, and I had to correct
You had to
him.
correct it, yeah. Matt Damon said that'd be a great screenplay. He stole your idea.
One thing about Harvard, though, there was just so many areas that were like eye openers.
Oh,
there.
yeah.
You go, oh my God.
Yeah.
So, I forget who I was working with. He was a fire alarm kid, and I was working with him. And the business school was on the other side of Charles River. So we're in Harvard Square, and he goes, we got to go over the business school. He goes, but I'm going to take you this way. And there was like a doorway on the sidewalk, literally a door, and it, went down into the ground. And he's telling me how all these dormitories are all connected underground, and there was a tunnel. And then at one point, it crosses over the Charles River. It only happens one time, and then brings you right into the business section. So we actually walked it, and it was pretty
Yeah.
amazing. You're walking down this tunnel, and it's probably 10 or 15 feet wide,
Yeah.
and 10 feet high with those steam pipes. And as you're walking by some of the dormitories areas, they were like kitchens or whatever that
Yeah.
was on that level. I know one or two of the doors were open. You could look inside. You'd see people in there,
Yeah.
in the kitchen area, like
Yeah.
working. So I saw some of that, and we got to a point where we walked over the bridge, and I don't remember the name of that particular bridge, but you walk standing up, and then as you get closer to the center, you're almost down to like 3 feet.
Yeah.
And then it opened back up again. But I walked, and we come out in the business section,
Yeah.
business area.
I remember we worked in some of those buildings down in Harvard Square, some of those old
Yeah.
buildings.
Working for Linwell, you
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
with the fire.
Like a lot of them, I mean, there was all those basement tunnels that connected all those buildings. And like
Right.
you said, there was all steam pipes and
Yeah,
heating
right.
pipes and stuff. And they were all asbestos wrapped and everything.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We would, this summer, earlier this spring, I was kind of hitting a bunch of different jobs at different times, and we hit a handful of Harvard jobs. And Harvard's got, a few buildings that are a couple hundred years old that they're kind of remodeling, and they're keeping the architecture
Trying to
back
keep-
from that date, and
Yeah.
try to keep the buildings to look the way they were when they built them. And I mean, like I said, it's probably cheaper to rip the building down than to remodel some of those old brick buildings that they built. But what a beautiful, beautiful campus they have over there.
That campus was amazing.
Really is. And their master plan, like some of the colleges or some of the other universities, they have like a 5 or 10 year capital plan to fix up their buildings and maintain their campuses. Harvard's capital plan is like a 50 or 100 year capital plan. So when stuff happens with the economy and a job gets canceled, and it may not happen now, so you don't have to
come
wait
back
10
around.
years. I mean, 10 years for Harvard is like nothing.
Yeah, how old is Harvard?
350 years or something,
Yeah,
right?
was that like 1600s
Yeah.
or something? Yeah.
Yeah. And
Wow.
as officers, me and Richie were fortunate enough to go to the Harvard Union Trade Program,
Yeah.
which was an honor to go to Harvard
Right.
and be represent Local 103 at the trade union program, but just the history and some of the lecture halls, being in over at Harvard, the place is awesome. They do everything right. Everything's 100% union. They
So you
build
got
buildings
some
all the
kinda
time.
degree from Harvard.
Yeah,
From the law school.
yeah. Yeah, you had two sons that went to Harvard.
Yeah.
What happened to you, Callie? You just lowly UMass graduate, engineering.
Yeah, disappointment.
Yeah. I'm still trying to catch up on some of the reading that they gave us. I haven't finished it yet. Yeah. Yeah, I know the amount of work and seeing in your career, almost 60 years, some of the buildings you worked on, all the, the colleges and the hospitals, that's really the bread and butter.
Right.
Fed a lot of 103 families, those jobs. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I worked at Dana, brand new,
Yeah.
from when that was in 75.
Yeah.
And worked from, that was like a hole in the ground. I was there for quite a while.
Yeah.
I think might have been in operation by the time I left.
Wow.
So I was lucky on
Yeah.
to have that longevity on
Yeah.
some of those jobs.
Yeah, those research hospitals and the colleges and the universities like Harvard and MIT, and now some of the research places that come up are spin-offs from some of that grant money that comes into those colleges. I mean, that kept a lot of your jobs were working on those buildings. I worked there, fed a lot of 103 families working on those facilities. Really built this local into what it is now.
Yeah.
Almost a 10,000 person local. Because of our institutional work here in Boston area. We're so fortunate, we really are.
Right. I worked at Madison Park.
Oh yeah.
Brand new. That was brand new out of the ground.
Yeah.
I was there for quite a while. It
Yeah.
was a nice school, and that neighborhood was pretty rough.
Yeah.
And it was leading down toward Dudley
Yeah.
Square, but on the other side of it, where Madison Park was, all that area. That was like before me, but they had torn it all down, so whatever was there was gone. And then the new stuff started popping up in Madison Park.
Was that in the 70s, the Madison Park?
Yeah.
Yeah. When they built that, I worked at Madison Park for Linwell as an apprentice doing retrofit lighting in the early 90s.
Oh,
When they
really?
were retrofitting all of the old city buildings. That was one of them we worked in. I remember, just packing up all those ballasts and hampers,
I'd
bringing them
probably
out to
put
the
half of
dumpsters.
those, fixtures in brand new.
Changing out the ballasts,
Yeah,
and then
right.
changing out the lamps and putting the reflectors in.
Yeah.
I could do those in my sleep. We did so many of them,
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of them,
I-
because Linwell had the schools,
Right.
and that was part of it. I
Right.
remember I worked at bouncing around all the schools.
Right, and
Yeah.
I worked on some of those in other schools. I don't remember working in Madison Park, but we did do retrofits
Yeah.
in some of the other schools
Yeah.
in Boston.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was, Linwell always
yeah,
kept busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a nice account with
Yeah.
the Boston schools.
yeah. That was. They still have that account with the
Yeah,
Boston
do they?
schools. Yeah, they
Yeah.
still got a handful of vans that go around,
Nice.
maintaining the schools. It's definitely a nice little.
Yeah, I
customer
didn't
there.
realize there were so many schools. I think they said at that time there was like 250 schools.
Oh wow.
They didn't have every one of them,
Yeah,
but they had whatever that number was that went out for contract.
yeah, definitely a nice account.
Yeah.
all the Boston schools. Yeah, and they still have it, which is great. I think it's changed hands a couple times in between, but Linwell always seems to
Come up with
to
it,
get a hold of it.
Yeah, and then it's being familiar with
Yeah.
the schools and where to go. And
Yeah, yeah. So you're coming up on 20 years retired, right? You're
Yeah.
coming up on 20 years?
Yeah, I went out in 06, so
Yeah.
26.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. So 20 years.
Yeah,
Yeah. Wow.
I know.
Oh, it's quick,
like,
huh?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't sit still. I mean,
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to be able to get out and
Yeah.
the numbers work, like I said.
Yeah. Sure.
And then I always had something lined up for a Saturday, like moonlighting. So I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
kind of perked that up
Yeah. I
and
remember.
continued that.
Yeah. I mean, being retired, Local 103, they say is the best booking around, and
Yeah.
to see
Yeah.
how healthy you are and how well you're doing. You and Mom, have a great life together. It looks like it's still the best booking you can have at
Oh,
103.
yeah,
huh?
I know it. I have a lot of nice memories thinking back. And once in a while you hear about all this work and it kind of gets you excited because you know all the good that comes from that. And then like reality will set in because you might be thinking, geez, I probably could go back to work, and do something. And then reality sets in and he goes, yeah, okay, that's not a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
4 o'clock.
Yeah.
When I used to come into town, 20 years ago, I'd get to the mouth of the expressway coming up from the Cape, and I'd get to the mouth of the expressway like 10 minutes to 6.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too bad to get to the job. Now I don't think, and I walk out the door at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah. Ooh.
You know, I was no fun after 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah. Right.
But so now making that commute, I don't think
from
I don't think
Cambridge.
that'd be early enough.
Yeah, from Cambridge to Falmouth
Yeah.
in the afternoons. How was that on a Friday afternoon? Ugh.
Oh, it was awful.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't miss those days, huh?
That's the part. Just like
Yeah.
coming here today.
Yeah, right.
You know, the
Yeah.
expressway is just brutal.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Yeah, well, Dad, thanks for everything you did
Yeah.
for the IBEW. Thanks for everything you gave to Richie and Callie and I, leading the way for us. And
Yeah. Well, now you guys
Yeah.
take the torch and just
Happy Father's Day.
Yeah. Happy Father's Day.
Yeah.
Happy Father's
Yeah.
Day.
Thanks.
It's awesome. Thanks
Yeah.
for coming on our podcast.
Yeah.
You know, this
Thanks.
is great. Just
Yeah.
kind of
Thanks for having me.
believe it or not, this was just a little clothes closet. We had kept sweatshirts in here. It was kind of a mess in here. Now it looks like a Hollywood studio.
Yeah.
Sean did a good job putting this place together.
Yeah, it looks pretty
You
good.
know, yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
You're in a
Yeah. Thanks again.
pretty popular seat. That's the hot seat. You did
Yeah.
really
Some nice
good.
people are sitting
Yeah,
here.
the
so,
governor sat there. The Marty Walsh has sat in that seat. We've had
Really?
your old friend Ed Markey sat there. You know.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's a good
Well,
seat.
at least
It's a
they
good
don't have to
seat.
fill their shoes.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
can fill their seat.
No, it's been awesome, Dad. It's been a great ride. It's certainly been a great ride for us, and
Yeah.
thanks for paving the way for us. It's been great.
Yeah, now the kids, the younger
Yeah.
crew will keep it going, the
That's right.
grandchildren.
Yeah, they can pay your pension now for a while.
Yeah.